Terrorism? What terrorism? I don't see any terrorism. That has largely been the Obama administration's approach to fighting Islamic Jihad for the past 8 years. Pretend it doesn't exist. When he first ran for president, Barack Obama knew Americans were weary of color-coded domestic terror alerts, so he decided on a new approach. Just keep saying that everything's okay. And whenever evidence to the contrary arrives in the form of a terror attack, just look the other way and say something about global warming or gun control. Well, now John Kerry has taken it a step further. He'd like the media to join in on the charade. Speaking in Bangladesh, the U.S. Secretary of State said the following. I want to read the whole quote just to show it's not out of context. No country is immune from terrorism. It's easy to terrorize. Government and law enforcement have to be correct 24/7, 365 days a year. But if you decide one day you're going to be a terrorist and you're willing to kill yourself, you can go out and kill some people. You can make some noise. Perhaps the media would do us all a service if they didn't cover it quite as much. People wouldn't know what's going on. That's the administration. That's their approach. That's what they would like, for Americans to not know what's going on. It's inconvenient for them. It distracts from the things they really believe are important. Things like, as Kerry said later in his speech, President Obama's signature development initiatives, health care, food security, and the all-encompassing issue of climate change. Yeah, I guess those things are kind of important if you're not dead. So, let's see. Who should we start with? Fela?
Yeah.
You seem to agree. Well, you're nodding your head there. Did you agree with my... I mean, John Kerry has actually... He puts his foot... I wouldn't say he puts his foot in his mouth, but he really believes this stuff.
He only winds up with his foot in his mouth when he's riding a bicycle, because he can't ride a bicycle and crash his bicycle. But if you actually look at the words in that speech, it actually looks like he's an inspirational speaker for ISIS. He's like, this is really easy. You can kill a lot of people. Yes, they've got to be right all the time.
If you want to go out, you can go out and do it anytime.
Like, ridiculous. Like, I get the nuance of what he's trying to say, which is like, if the media, doesn't scare as many people and we don't know what's happening, it'll be easier. But how about just creating the perception that you know what you're doing? Like, I think the problem is the country doesn't believe we know what we're doing. Like when he got to the point of like, their top priorities are healthcare and climate change. If you're speaking to a group of ISIS people getting ready to blow themselves up, it's like, no, they're not worried about you. They're worried about climate change.
That's it. I mean, look, John, why shouldn't people be scared? Terrorism is happening. Shouldn't people be scared to, to an appropriate degree?
The Democrats are always better off when the public doesn't know what's going on. Kerry absolutely speaks from experience. I mean, remember, the media stopped covering his 2004 presidential campaigns, and and the voters forgot to vote for him. And look at Hillary Clinton. 269 days she hasn't had a press conference. They don't want the public to know what's going on. They don't want the public to know that this economy's failing. They don't want the public to know anything.
To be fair, the press can't afford her speaking fee.
Very true.
They started a GoFundMe. They started a GoFundMe. We'll see.
Okay.
I got another quote. I want to read this to you. Before I go to you, Jessica, look at this quote, all right? But make no mistake, this is Kerry. Democracy still provides the most resilient and the most reliable platform that we have for preventing and responding to violent extremism. When people can freely participate in public debate and are less vulnerable to being subverted by lies, by distortions, by a fake presentation of a peaceful religion, Islam. Jessica, that isn't true. The Boston bombers, the San Bernardino killers, the Orlando massacre, virtually every domestic attack, and in France and in England, it's people who were raised in democracy. They had more than a passing, familiarity with the idea. Democracy by itself doesn't help, does it?
No, I mean, democracy helps for a lot of things, and I think that as a nation, and also all Western democracies, really, we need to be doing a better job at articulating our values and why they're superior. We're seeing, I mean, if you look at the Freedom House rating, everyone's eyes have glazed over. I take your point. Everything John Kerry said in this was kind of crappy.
That's what I was looking for. There it is.
No, I have Freedom House statistics, but it's not the time or the place for it. So the point is that, and it's a similar point that Barack Obama made a few months ago when he said, I didn't really know how upset people were until I started watching cable news. And the truth of the matter is, everybody's watching cable news. Most of them are watching this network, some are watching other networks. More of my liberal friends are watching other networks. And they're covering terrorism all the time, partly because there are a lot of terrorist attacks, but also because there's a sensationalization of this. And it was really interesting on the night of the horrific Nice attack, the ISIS attack on Bastille Day, there was a French journalist talking about how the European channels were covering the attack less than the American channels. And they were saying there's something going on here where there's an overhyping of fear. And I think that the administration wants to make you feel calmer. But the truth is that people, because they are watching these channels and they're reading our press, are scared, and they need to do more to make sure that we know that they have a plan to combat terrorism.
Well, my theory, Dustin, is that the media in Europe is even worse than they are here. That they're trying to follow the line of the Obama administration that we're worrying too much about this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, this country, we put Charles Manson on a T-shirt, we put the Boston Bomber on Rolling Stone magazine.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe if we just like only put terrorism on public access, because nobody wants to do public access. So maybe if we just cover it there, then maybe they won't do it. But I mean, you know, I miss the color codes, you know, where it was like red was alert, and then like.
Well, we're just like perma.
Yeah, I
on
missed
red.
it though.
I miss it too.
Yeah, it was great because you know, you either Netflix and chill or you go out and profile people. You knew like what to do.
Exactly.
You know,
it
like
was
the weather.
so much easier,
Yeah,
wasn't it,
way
John?
easier.
This is, I mean, how could the Secretary of State of the United States of America say that we shouldn't be covering this, that people shouldn't know about this? This is a real threat. This is serious stuff. They want to kill us.
Yeah.
They do not like our way of life. They have these rallies with thousands of people, and they say, we want to kill them. They're infidels. This is real. They're going to do this. They're going to do this on our homeland. They're going to do this across the world. And we have to stop it. And we have to identify it. We have to acknowledge it. It's like an AA meeting. You got to admit you got a problem first.
But
Well,
got a problem.
we've definitely admitted it.
Houston, we have a problem.
I have a problem.
Yeah.
8 years sober. 8 years sober.
The sad thing,
That's from the Atlanta show.
but Fela, for me, the sad thing is
by the way.
that the marketing has worked. The marketing has worked. I feel like Obama gets kind of good marks in this. They love
He
that.
does.
They love that no drama Obama thing.
And think about that, though, for a second. Like, to your point, look how big ISIS has gotten. Like, I remember, you know, as a guy who I write topical humor for a living for a bunch of radio stations during the day, and I was covering...
You're the guy who writes those things?
No, not those. But I was not those. Not those.
Hey.
I'm not involved in any prank phone calls. No War of the Roses.
Okay.
Oh God!
All right.
Stop it. But
My bread and butter.
but I want to say this though. Like I was covering ISIS like 5 years ago when it was like, you know, when you get snobby about a band because you're like, I knew them when they were just like
Right.
living in
Yeah.
their car.
Yeah.
Like I was covering ISIS when it was two guys in a minivan trying to get something going.
They're the new Al Qaeda.
And I've been blown away at like how big they have gotten. But yes, Obama has convinced the country. You know, he says they're the JV team.
Yeah.
That was the money line.
So ISIS is like U2 for you?
They're big. They're a big deal.
But they-
Like, I remember, boy,
that
what
when
an album that was.
leader
They don't ruin
Al
my
Qaeda.
iTunes stuff.
Yeah. There's a guy named Al.
One guy named Al.
That's funny, actually. You've said other funny things, but I found that particularly funny.
Hey, John, write that down. That's
Yes,
rare
I
from
know.
her.
No, but to your point, yes, they have gotten big, and I think the estimate right now is that there are 30,000 ISIS fighters across the globe. But we have taken, I mean, on the ground, and everyone will admit this on every level of the military, that we have taken back territory in both Iraq and Syria. But we have had attacks also in 11 countries around the world. So there is a problem. But just today, we took out, like, their chief propagandist in Aleppo from an airstrike.
Okay,
So
good.
it-
29,000.
Oh,
Hold
equal
on.
time again?
30.
That was good. You made
by
a
the
good
way,
point.
Thank you.
Interesting symmetry. 30,000 soldiers. That's one for every email she deleted.
And,
yeah.
and just,
Hey!
and just
I thought
us
I liked
talking
you,
about it,
and
like,
now-
just make them bigger.
33,000
He's trying to get out of this, by the way.
I know. Let's just have
You know my
conversation.
cues.
He's trying to get out of
I'm
here.
pointing at the camera. Coming up.